dynamicness should be an interesting one to talk about. And dynamicness is really an awesome word, first and foremost. But it kind of just means that without getting into the tech side of things, that you don't have a static set of properties that you can adjust. So you can add and remove properties to an object at will. And one of the classes that's actually already
awesome artwork.
I know. This is developer artwork. So one of the classes that's already a static, dynamic, sorry, is a movie clip. So you can essentially add and remove anything you want to a movie clip. And so what I have here is these two characters that I drew.
Is that you?
It took me no, it's not.
That's me.
Uncanny.
There you go. It's close enough. But essentially, they're just two, I spent a long time doing these, actually. and did a few times. But they're just movie clips, and I've named them boy and girl, guy and girl, I think. And then I have a vase in the middle. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to click one, and you chose that. And really simple thing to do, but I wanted to show you how it actually works, which is the interesting part. Because all I've done is said, like, I've added a caption onto guy here. And caption's not really a defined property, it's just something I've added, and you can do this to anything. So you could do guy dot gender equals male, and you could use it for validation purposes. And what actually happens is that property gets attached to the movie clip, and you can access it later. So any movie clip you have on the stage at any time, you can add stuff onto. And the benefit to doing that is, whereas I wouldn't recommend it later on, when you get into bigger projects, you'll want strict typing because it'll help you in terms of catching errors. But for small things like this, just being able to attach a caption, what that lets you do is, I'm going to listen for a mouse event when you click either the guy or the girl, and then in the handling function, it's basically just taking, it knows that I know I clicked on a movie clip, so I'm typing it as a movie clip. And then it's just accessing the text property of the status quo. And actually, it's just.
Are you Obi-Wan Kenobi?
It's just accessing the caption, which I attached to the guy. And you can really do that for anything. So if I say guy.property that has a really long name for no reason, like, that's valid. And say, and then I can take that and actually, and that will work fine. And then if we have a, I don't know where my actions palette's on someone's tail, isn't it? You can see the question mark there that it produced from me clicking a guy. And just saying, you know, access this property that has a really long name for no reason. So you can tag anything onto it, and one of the biggest benefits to doing that is maybe event handling, where you can just have a custom event and type it as dynamic. And a lot of the times you don't really want to make events for every single thing that will be dispatched as an event, and I know this is kind of going into detail that probably most people don't care for, but essentially you can type a custom event and attach anything you want to it, so you could use the same event for a million different reasons, which is pretty cool. But I will forget that. Let's go back to it. So I'll skip that because I don't think there's enough developers in there to appreciate my offering. I'll show. So Swift decompiling again, I'll quickly cover this, but you can take you can take a Swift, and I'll take take my dynamic movie Swift. It doesn't contain me too much. And I downloaded the trial for this because I have the full version on PC. But every Swift you can actually take through these different programs and you can decompile them, so you can kind of reverse engineer them and see what's inside. And I think that's something ethically not everyone always has the best intentions when doing so, but there's once in a while you'll see a flash file and you're like, holy crap, how did he make that?
Mm-hmm.
That is amazing. And you'll want to actually go in and look and just take a kind of peek at the source code. And Swift decompiling lets you do that. And so if I take my dynamic movie Swift and open it in something,
Or you might want to say, that looks like my stuff. Is it? And you could find out pretty quickly.
but if you look in here, it has essentially the image, and you can extract this. So if you ever see a Swift file with maybe sound files or something, or images, and you don't know how to take them out, well, now you do.
So I got my ringtone.
And
We
you can see
played
all
that,
the, all
dude.
the text,
Simon
even all the all the scripts are inside here. Unfortunately, they're not shown in the trial. In the full version, they do show you the scripts, and so it's kind of neat that you can essentially take any flash file from the Swift. I'm using just the Swift right now. Pretend I don't have the FLA, and I'm going to actually convert this into an FLA. It's there. It's produced an FLA for me. And if I open up the FLA, you'll see a few things that are different, like in my library. It's not going to have the same name conventions. There's all going to be tied to the default, which is sprite 1, 2, 3, up to 1,000 if you have 1,000 sprites. But you will notice that it's a fully functional Flash file, and you've just taken that from the Swift, and now you have the option to edit it. If I found a file, even for old files, if you don't know what you've done with the source code, and it's happened to me once, twice before actually. It's one of those things that people talk about, and you think why would he not have his own source code? The guy's full of shit. But when you start backing stuff up onto hard drives, and then you get multiple USB keys, and then you find out 128 megs not good enough, I'm going to upgrade. you start running into these issues where you don't know what you did with the original FLA sometimes, so you can kind of extract them from this. And even just last night, actually, I was working on I was doing some actual work last night, and I ran into this problem. I'm not sure if anyone's seen it. I haven't been working on a Mac for too long, but OS X, it wipes down the screen and then tells you have to shut your computer down now. For no reason at all, I guess in Java error, and I have this file called XML. This is what happened to the file that I had open at the time.
Wow.
This was a 1,000-page file,
Holy
1,000-line
shit.
file, and I have SVN software. Don't get me wrong, but maybe 4 hours in, shit, I should have committed this file. And so this is 4 hours of work. When I turned my computer back on, this was gone.
Wow.
And the fortunate part, what it actually did, it corrupted all the files I had open in Flash at the time. So
That's
maybe
awesome.
So 2 of these files completely wiped out, and I get this nonsense instead.
Holy shit.
But what I've actually done is, and even the FLA was completely gone. And that's a huge thing, because external files you kind of have segregated, and you work on them individually, so they're generally not as large as the FLA, which is the centerpiece of everything. If that kind of screws up, fuck.
Yeah.
But what I essentially managed to do last night is take the Swift, which I compile every time I hit Command Enter on the Mac, and decompile it and get a similar version to what I had actually been working on. It was funny finding myself there hacking my own Swift from 5 minutes ago before Mac had decided to
Wow.
pull me back a few hours. So that was so it's very useful, and I definitely suggest maybe just downloading the trial and once in a while, like if there's something you didn't know how it's built, like taking a look, like the class files are in there, the images are in there, that's the source of it. Like, all the scripts and the sound files are normally embedded. So you can pick up some really interesting techniques even just by looking at the way other people have built their stuff. And unfortunately,
It's good for looking at student work too.